I had an art teacher in college say, pay attention to the things you pay attention to, because that's probably actually where your secret power lies.
When they feel like, but only I could do this, or am I going to get someone else to do what I've always done?
It might take a few minutes to train somebody. It might take a little time to delegate, to create a system for a person to copy. But what that's creating for you 1 week down the line, 2 weeks, a month down the line, is that thing will be off your plate and somebody else can do it.
If you want to grow a business that doesn't rely on you, so you can work because you want to, not because you have to, then this video is perfect for you. Hi, it's Linh Podetti here. Today's guest is Celia Arias, a business growth strategist who helps entrepreneurs achieve purpose-driven results, 3x their revenues, and build happier and more productive teams. By looking at their businesses holistically, Celia teaches leaders how to rekindle their founding passions by simplifying the systems, processes, and strategies that will ultimately set them free. Today, we discuss her startup story of how she built a thriving business in her early 20s, but completely burnt herself out because she did everything herself. How she then discovered the secret to building businesses that frees business owners up. You will also learn what you can do to start systemizing your business so it can run without you.
Hi, Celia. So good to have you here today.
Hi, it's so nice to see you again.
Thanks. And, I always love talking to you because we kind of jam the same way about business, really about how do we actually build a business that doesn't require us? Because that's my ultimate dream for myself, and achieving that, I want that for more people. And then you do that for people. You are a business coach that really do help business with that. And so love to understand, where did you firstly got that passion or motivation to start a business like that yourself?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. I'm always like, we're going to talk about operations and tactics, right? Oh, how I got here. Yeah. Right. I am probably the strangest operations strategist ever. And I think this is relevant for people to know. My background is I have a creative background. So I'm a bit of a nerd. I have a lot of degrees. I actually have a performing fine arts degree in modern dance. And then I got my second degree. I did get a nonprofit admin double major in school because my parents were like, you're good at business and you have to have a fallback. Funny foreshadowing there. Yeah. And my second degree was in fashion design. And after I got my second degree, I moved back to South America. So I'm originally from Argentina. And I saw a gap in the market naturally, and I created a fashion line specific to social dance. So it was for tango dancers, salsa dancers, zouk dancers, because if anybody is a social dancer around the world, these are huge communities and huge opportunity for fashion. So I ran a fashion line for 9 years and had global sales in 9 countries around the world. I was very young. I did it by myself. I've been in that seat where I literally through my 20s, I always joke, people are like, you don't drink? And I'm like, no, but I didn't have my 20s. I worked 7 days a week for my entire 20s into my 30s.
Wow.
And there was a certain point where I kept growing the business, but it was so much work and so much muscle, right? And this life of not having a life. I didn't know any better. I didn't know there was a better answer, but I thought maybe I have to go get an MBA because I don't know enough about business. So I actually went and got an MBA. I moved back to New York to get an MBA. I sold that clothing brand. And then I worked in startups as a director of marketing. And in this particular supply chain startup, I kept getting called in to make SOPs because I know a lot about the supply chain and manufacturing and how things come together and how things get made. And they were like, can you make an SOP? And I was like, what's an SOP? I didn't even know what SOPs were. And then I moved into corporate level partnerships for a luxury brand.
And just in case if someone's watching this and you're not sure, it's standard operations procedure, right?
Yes. We're going to get into that, right?
Yes. Just in case, because some people are like, well, I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a really good call out. Standard operating procedure basically is if you do something more than once, you can probably make a procedure to make it teachable and repeatable. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I can make a chain of events for you that's logical, right? Then I went into corporate sales. I've had startup ops experience, then corporate sales. And I also at the time got a master's in theology because I'm a nerd. And I just love the way people think and what we believe. And one of my bosses in corporate sales, Monday morning meeting, if you guys have ever worked in corporate sales, it's basically the numbers report. It's very intimidating. I had to give numbers reports, I had to learn how to do this. And I kept talking about, if only we would fix our internal CRM, if only we would fix these things and make the process easier. And one day my boss said, Celia, stop trying to fix the system and just go out and sell. You're really good at selling. And in my mind, rather than like being like offended or scared or called out, I was like, fix the system. I wonder if there's a job for that. Who fixes systems? So I actually went on this kind of like research. I do this a lot. I went on a research rabbit hole and I was like, oh, operations directors. Oh, like the COO of Facebook is a woman. And I looked up I read her books and her trajectory. And I was like, oh, I think operations is my thing. So the next company that I kind of convinced to hire me, they would have hired me for sales and marketing because that was my background, branding, creative, and understanding that. And I was like, no, I really want you guys to hire me for operations. And they were like, what? That's not on your resume. That's not your background. We'll hire you for partnerships and marketing and branding. And I was like, okay, on one condition, you let me prove myself to you that I'm an ops girl and work my way into the COO role. And that's what I did. I came in as partnerships, but started fixing the way they do everything, the way the team runs everything that can be automated, training people. So I basically worked my way into operations when I realized that that's kind of how my brain works.
Yeah.
And after that, after a year there, things were running really smoothly and I started having free time and I started kind of helping smaller artists, businesses, consulting, like coaching on the side. And then COVID hit and I was like, I want to build a coaching program on the side of being this COO. And so it's just kind of grown from there because I realized I don't actually like sitting in the full-time COO seat. I like actually helping you fix the things that aren't obvious to you, but that will move the needle in your business and take you to the next milestone, right? Whether it's a certain amount of revenue or, okay, I have revenue, but I have no free time, work-life balance, whatever it is. But I like to put in place those things to get you to the next milestone and then be out. And then you can call me when you need me, right?
Yes, so, that's the ultimate dream, to be able to choose when to work, not have to work. So what did you realize? Because, when someone hired you for sales and marketing, why did you feel like, no, I have to fix this system? Because why? What was going to be the impact if you continue not fixing that system?
I started to notice, I had an art teacher in college say, pay attention to the things you pay attention to, because that's probably actually where your secret power lies. And in all of my jobs, I kept paying attention to, like corporate sales. The CRM is this old behemoth that's really clunky, doesn't report well. So requiring a salesperson to do a bunch of manual work just to be able to report some numbers on a Monday meeting, which doesn't help me hit my quota. Hitting my quota is that system should be easy. That system should be easy. This company has tons of money. The systems for the salesperson should be supporting the salesperson to go out and do what he or she does best, which is talk to people, build relationship, build trust, right? The things that you want your salesperson to be doing. And we found ourselves in the office, like typing away, having to update every level of the buckets that a sales, so that our bosses had all the right numbers in their reports. And I was like, why are we spending you want me to go out and get sales? Let me go down the street and talk to Supreme, which I eventually did and closed a deal with Supreme, which was a big deal. But I had to go to their office and be in their face and be a salesperson, not be bogged down by this behemoth CRM that didn't work. For just one example, right? So I kept noticing, whether you're in a startup, highly funded startup, or corporate world or small business, if you don't have those systems working to support each person in their role, those people are probably doing a lot of admin tasks that take up so much of their time and energy that they're not dedicating their skill set to what you hired them to do.
Mm-hmm. And then ultimately affecting the bottom line, which you never get there because there's just no time for them.
Right. And I have clients who are like, I hired this badass salesperson and they're not hitting sales. I'm like, okay, well, let's look at the training that you've set up for them. Let's look at the systems that support them. Let's look at, are you systematically checking in with them and coaching them on how to sell your product, right? You don't just hire a person and throw them into the court and like wish them the best and then get upset when it doesn't work. How is your business built to support everyone to be in their area of genius? Right. So I just started to see it as a repeat cycle. And that's what I see in my clients as a repeat cycle as well.
Yeah. And I think the system is almost the root of the problem. Once you fix it, then it kind of spans out to other places. So when it comes to clients coming to you and obviously, burnt out, no time to do anything, etc., what would be the first step you take them through to, I know, ultimately they want to be able to build a business that's just kind of not relying on them. I guess I would love to just see, what journey they would take to go from step one to the end.
So that's a really funny question. I typically, when I work with any new client, we do a really extensive business audit. So that's typically like a 2-hour call to really understand everything about your business, from the external world, branding, marketing, what's working, what's not working, to internal team processes, financials, everything. But I would say the themes are the low-hanging fruit are often, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you, but it's really true. It's 2 things: time management and do you have an assistant? Because there are so many things bogging down CEOs and entrepreneurs with just admin tasks that you could give to a great VA. And so if we do kind of a time productivity assessment exercise and they're good at managing their time and productivity, but still bogged down, then we go, let's look at the financials and see if you can afford a VA. Mm-hmm. I promise it's not because I'm talking to you, but yes, that's usually kind of the low hanging fruit is, I want you to be thinking strategically about your business. I want to remove you from the day to day. I want you to have that freedom, but a lot of those tasks have to get done by someone. Mm-hmm. So let's take the steps to hire a great someone and get those off your plate in a way that you can trust. Right? In a way that makes you feel good. Because we're also not just going to hire just any VA and wish them the best. You're not going to throw them in the field and pat them on the back and say good luck. So there's a whole process of who do you hire? And then once you hire them, how do you train them? How do you teach them about what you need? How do you get them to be that dream VA? Right?
Yep. And then what would be the next step? And so especially how about people with even teams, local team, would they then audit their current staff's time and to really free up their time as well? Yep.
100%. If they already have a team, what I do in that audit is we go through each person, what's their role, what are their key responsibilities, and what are their key skills that they bring to the table. And this is kind of a pretty in-depth team analysis. And we kind of look at who's an A player and who's not, and are they in the right seat? Sometimes you can fix a lot by, oh, you have this person over here who has this skill, but you have them doing this. What if I know sometimes it sounds crazy because we get attached to how we hired people in and how we see them. But if it turns out that over time, this person that's delivering your service actually is great at upselling, maybe they should be in sales. Or if it turns out that this salesperson loves getting in there and tweaking the systems and tweaking your CRM and tweaking your ClickFunnels, maybe they should be an ops person. So team assessment is a huge part of what I do. If you have a team, is first, let's see who you have. Are they in the right seat? Are you using them to their strengths? And what do we move around? Yeah. And a lot of times it even happens that the person who's the problem area, usually within the first weeks of working with me, where sometimes we have to let somebody go. Sure. It's not a good fit. And that opens a whole world, that stresses entrepreneurs out, but that actually opens a whole world of opportunity. So yeah,
that's
it's fun
to
see
point. That. Yeah. You really get to audit and eliminate, where you have to. So then when it comes to systems and process, how do they actually start putting some systems in place? Do you also help with the process, and any tips around actually doing the SOPs?
Yeah, I do. An SOP, I think sometimes we use a lot of business lingo and overcomplicate things. An SOP can be something really simple, like to do like a checklist. An SOP can be just a document that guides somebody through something so that they do it the same every single time. It doesn't have to be something really complicated. It can be a Loom video of you walking someone through soft skills of what it's like to have a sales conversation. So I do help with that. And some of the first things that we do is from that audit, we'll pick out what are the first systems that you need to build. And this is probably where people need a business coach for this, is what's the first system you need to build that's actually going to move the needle? Because what happens to most entrepreneurs is that they're trying to do everything at once, right? And so I think where you need a strategist and somebody who can see your business without the emotion, who can step out and go, okay, one step at a time. We're not going to attack all of this all at once. One step at a time. This week, we're going to build this one system.
Yes. Perfect. Now, in terms of, I guess you've worked with so many entrepreneurs and they come to you, like what kind of limiting beliefs or things they say to themselves that you feel like actually sabotages them being able to build a business without them? You know, like the thing I could think of is when they feel like, you know, but only I could do this, or how am I going to get someone else to do what I've always done? I don't know what it is, but, you know, is there a common thing to hear that you feel like, oh my God, that is probably why you're stuck in your business?
Only I can do this is probably like number one answer on the survey says, right? For the Americans, for Family Feud. Survey says, only I can do this. That's probably number one. Number two, which is tied, is, but it's going to take me so much time to train somebody and delegate it to them. I might as well do it myself. That one, if you've caught yourself saying this, I might as well just do it myself. The thing is, we end up having a list of, I might as well do it myself. Right. And then your day is bogged down by this list of things that you believe you're the only one that you can do. So yeah, it might take a few minutes to train somebody. It might take a little time to delegate, to create a system for a person to copy. But what that's creating for you 1 week down the line, 2 weeks, a month down the line, is that thing will be off your plate and somebody else can do it. I think that's the one thing of like, it'll take me so much time to train someone and therefore I never train someone.
Yeah.
If you catch yourself saying that, just take a breath and go, is that really true?
Yeah, totally. Now, looking back at all of your years in business and even that first business where you were there for like 9 years on your own, etc., what did you wish you could have done differently if you were to, you know, almost start a new business again?
That's a really great question. I mean, I worked like a mad woman. So, and I also had a fashion line that had the branding, marketing, sales component, but I also did all the back end from pattern making to cutting to.
You did it all on your own.
I did it all. I hired an assistant maybe halfway through. I've never really thought about this, but I would have to say I would do what I do now for people, which is I would have completely taken myself out of that day to day. I would have hired a young design student to do that basic stuff that I didn't need to be doing. I really didn't need to be drawing a pattern myself, cutting fabric myself, even seeing difficult clients. Like I needed to be thinking about the strategy level of what's left, marketing events, networking, connecting with the raving fan type of clients who refer you, servicing them better. I should have really just been getting myself in the role that thinks strategically about a business and is thinking about growth and is thinking about minimizing operational costs. But I was pretty much hands-on across the board.
Yeah. And at the time, was it because you just weren't aware of the strategy of delegation or outsourcing or freeing yourself up? Or was it that you kind of said to yourself, but I'll just do this because, I don't know, I can't afford someone else? Or what was it that you said to yourself that kept you in that position?
I was really young. And I didn't know any better. It genuinely didn't occur to me that there was better. I lived in Argentina when Tim Ferriss was in Argentina writing the 4-Hour Work Week. I'm a lot older than I look. This is when that happened. And his book came out a few years later, and he talks about in the intro, I wrote this book while in Argentina because I delegated all these things in my business. And I'm embarrassed to say that even when I read that book, because I'm a book nerd, even when I read that book, I was like, yeah, right, Tim, sure.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I still hadn't, it was still such a new, sure, okay, delegate your email, but I like stand on my feet for 12 hours a day and cut fabric. Okay. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
And it didn't dawn on me until much later. Like, oh my God, what are you saying? And I liked Tim Ferriss. I met him once, but I don't think he really does that process justice in the way he describes it. Because he describes it as this kind of like privileged bro approach of like, I have these magical little fairies out there doing all my work and I'm down in Argentina writing my book. I think he made it sound so difficult to relate to in a way, so far removed, that I think we all read that book back in that time and we're like, sure, you can do that, but I can't. And the truth is, we really can.
Yeah. But he wrote it in a way, it sounded like a dream. It sounded like
it was like, okay. And I'm Latina, so Latinos are very like, you know, sure. It didn't, I'm embarrassed to say, it didn't dawn on me then. I was really young though. I started my business when I was 23.
So what would you say the last thing you want the audience to take away with, if you had to give that, I guess one last piece of advice?
What I would say is, gosh, I would really say get a strategist.
Yeah. and not because it's because you're here either. And I really think people need to, because for many years when I don't have a strategist and I'm just tactical, trying this, trying that, and you're not really thinking, across everything and really seeing how, you almost feel like you're rising above your whole business and seeing what's the right strategy. And you kind of need someone that has that brain like yourself. And it's not that I'm trying to endorse you either. It's just because you really need to, because we want you to succeed. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the beautiful thing about business, why I love business so much, is you're constantly confronting yourself, constantly confronting the way you see the world and the way you see reality. And if you have this ability to do this on your own, awesome. What I'd say is take a step back, take a 30,000 foot view, and do you have enough data and numbers about your marketing and sales and like how your team gets things done to be able to look at a dashboard and understand your business and understand what's working and what's not working. That's my advice is, if you don't have a strategist, what you need to be constantly calling yourself out on is, am I peeking out from the sand and looking at my business like a business? If I'm getting and there's ways to catch yourself, right? If I'm getting emotional, I'm probably not being the CEO right now. If I'm exhausted by a certain time of day, early on in the day, I'm probably not being the CEO of my business right now. There's like red flags. So if you're not going to get a coach, look for these red flags. If I find myself when something breaks, I'm like, oh, I have to go fix that, or I have to always do that, or I'm always doing it. You're probably not being the CEO of your business right now. So, and some people can do this for themselves, right? But every single day, step out, and how are you getting a 30,000 foot view of your business and understanding where all the parts are and being able to look at every part and like move this here. Oh, this week conversion rates are down. We need to do something there to are you able to pull back and see your business that way?
Totally agree with every point you said there. Thank you so much. How do people connect with you, Celia?
So my name is Celia, but most of my web presence is my short name, Celi, Celi. So you can find me on Instagram, Celi Lives NYC.
Yeah.
Really easy, really obvious.
Well, yeah.
And then my website, celiarias.com. And I also am a head coach at 2X, and you can work with me personally or through an amazing coaching program called 2X.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today, Celia. Love chatting with you.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, because I regularly invite experts to come on my show. You basically get free coaching when you watch my videos, because I make sure to ask them lots of valuable questions. Now, if you'd like to discover more ways to grow your business, you can check out my next video here.